Influencers, some of the worst human beings that walk this planet. Hold on, that was really dramatic. I love influencers, especially the ones that are depicted in horror movies and meet their untimely demise or timely demise, depending on how you look at it. In this video, I'm going to be telling you about some of my favorite horror movies with influencers at their focal point. Also, if you've never seen my face before, my name is Crystal, and I'm just a horror fan talking about horror movies on the internet. I post new videos every single Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to beat the Sunday scaries, talking about scary movies. In no particular order, first is Mean-Spirited. A failed YouTuber's weekend in the Poconos turns into a nightmare when a demon joins the party. It was directed by Jeff Ryan and written by Ryan and Joe Adams, and it stars Will Madden and Ryan, who of course is also the director and one of the writers. Madden was also in 15 Cameras. Overall, the movie was super fun. You watch as the failed YouTuber tries to gain momentum, but fails as his jealousy for his former best friend surfaces. The main character is a little bit too whiny for me, but I looked past that because I found the supporting characters really fun and interesting to watch. So with any found footage movie, I need to make sense of why the camera is there. And in this case, it does. The storyline was easy to follow. I didn't feel bored or like I was waiting for something to happen. The gore was decent, and I will give credit to where credit is due. This is a lower budget horror film, and it was done well with the time that the cast and the crew had. It had moments that made me laugh out loud, and I'm not the biggest fan of comedic horror, but I didn't mind it. I would say this film definitely leans more to comedy rather than horror, but still a really good watch. Next is Chad Gets the Axe, or hashtag Chad Gets the Axe. I don't know. 4 social media stars live streamed their trip to Devil's Manor, former home to a satanic cult. It was directed by Travis Bible and written by Bible and Kemerton Hargo. It stars Spencer Harness Levine and Michael Bonini. This is another found footage horror comedy that I found to be entertaining. You have your run-of-the-mill egotistical influencers who have their camera in one hand and not really much else in the other, so what you see is what you get. The over-the-top antics of the main character did get old pretty fast, and you might find them all too annoying to watch, but just stick it out until the end. There were some creepy moments in the film that definitely added to the balance of the comedy and the horror. Oh, and because the group is live streaming, you are constantly seeing the live chat on the bottom right side of the screen, which can be a bit overwhelming if you're trying to watch the movie and follow the story. But when I did peek down to read the comments, they were actually pretty funny and very on par of what you would see on an influencer's live stream. So if you're looking to have fun while watching a horror movie, I definitely suggest this one. Next is Influencer. While struggling on a solo backpacking trip in Thailand, social media influencer Madison meets CW, who travels with ease and shows her more of an uninhabited way of living. But CW's interest in her takes a darker turn. It was directed by Curtis David Harder and written by Harder and Tess Gadukanda. It stars Cassandra Nod, Emily Tennant, and Rory J. Sapper. Sarah Cunning is also in the film, who I know from The Vampire Diaries. Harder, the director, produced VHS 94 and What Keeps You Alive. I absolutely adore this film so much that when it ended, I restarted it so I could watch it again. Not only is the setting and the backdrop of this film absolutely stunning, I loved the storyline, the characters, the acting, and also the take on social commentary, where anyone could and usually does believe whatever they read on the internet. I also enjoyed the sound and the score of the movie, and it worked to move the pace along. I do wish that there was a bit more to CW's backstory, but I liked how the movie kept me guessing on what would happen next and without spoiling it, I wasn't sure how the movie would continue after certain decisions were made, but I was pleasantly surprised. Next is Death of a Vlogger. An ambitious vlogger experiences the dark side of the internet when his latest video, which features an alleged haunting, goes viral. It was written and directed by Graham Hughes, and it stars Hughes. This movie was actually suggested by one of you, and I liked it, but the ending, not really a fan. Without spoiling anything for you, I liked the ups and downs of the main character when his haunting video goes viral. It has a mockumentary style with talking head interviews that walk us through what happened to the main character and how they're all involved and like their take on it. This movie was not scary though, so don't expect any kind of like paranormal activity scares in this one. I will give the filmmakers their flowers though, because it was a low budget film and there were moments that were really good. I was a fan of the actors too because it felt like they really cared about this movie. The problem with the ending for me was that I was a little confused on what actually happened, but that could absolutely be on me. Next, and certainly not least, is Clickbait Unfollowed. This is actually a TUBI original, and I absolutely loved it. A group of influencers are invited to a house for a competition with deadly consequences. It was written and directed by Catherine Barrell and Melanie Scrofano, and it stars Barrell, Scrofano, Roberta Kyle, Jessica Stanley, and Charlie Balgunin. Melanie Scrofano also acted in Ready or Not and Saw 6. This movie actually popped up on my suggested, and I am just a sucker for these silly, campy, sometimes very gory type of movies, and I was not disappointed. The setting was entirely in this influencer-esque house, and each character was a different type of influencer, and the actors all did really well. I could tell that the writer and director probably had a blast writing and directing this film, and also acting in it. It was easy to follow, and each kill was unique. So without spoiling it, I like how I got to see the competition continue to the very end, because sometimes in movies like this, the most entertaining parts, which is usually the competition, stops when the characters realize that they're like in danger and they're trying to fight for their lives. Whatever. Boring. I'm just kidding. But there was a reason that the influencers wanted and needed to continue playing. And you can probably guess that Scrofano got the idea of this movie while working on Saw 6. But she and Barrell added this like really comedic take on it, and that made it not as like intense as a Saw movie. Some honorable mentions are Deadstream, No Escape, Lexi, and Sissy. I'm sure that there are a ton more out there and a ton more being made right now. And it begs the question, will this plotline get done to death? No pun intended. Probably, but for now, I don't really mind. Well, if you made it this far, you reached the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching me, Crystal, just a horror fan, talking about horror movies on the internet. Till next time.